Hey friends, Justin here, Wheel of Time, episode 7. These episodes keep getting better and better. What do you guys think? So we open this episode on Dragon Mount. We've got what I believe is our first glimpse of one of the Maidens of the Spear, and she is a beast. She's taking on warrior after warrior, and she's 9 months pregnant, in labor. And it gives you a really interesting understanding about how strong and courageous that the Maidens of the Spear are. They are they are part of the people that inhabit the blighted lands and the lands that we're moving forward to if you have finished this episode. So we're moving forward and we're going to meet some of these people. She takes out all of these soldiers and finally starts to have birth on the side of the snowy mountain. And one of the warriors finally catches her off guard. And then we go into the credits and go into the story. And it's so interesting, once you watch the full episode, to understand who she was, whose mother she was, and what was happening. We're witnessing basically the dragon being born, the dragon being reborn. So we go back at the end of last episode. We were just entering the ways. Matt has decided that he doesn't want to lay his life down right now in this moment. He's got other things on his mind, so he's decided to hang back. And that darkness, that splitting of the group, it causes a lot of tension between the kids. And now we're walking along the ways, and we quickly find out that you cannot channel within the ways. It brings on something called the Machin Shin, which is the black wind, a cursed wind from the Dark One that confirms all of your worst ideas and feeds into the darkness within you. I noticed that Machin Shin did not seem to be violent, but mentally destructive, and it takes a toll on each and every person. It's been made apparent by the guide postings that Trollocs have entered the ways. This is a sacred way that the Ogier and the people that walk in the light have used time out of mind to move about the land unseen. And now the Dark One is using the ways and has totally corrupted it to his purpose. And Trollocs are within the ways. It appears that Nynaeve, with her incredible channeling power, has blocked the wind from doing its most destruction, and they are able to get out of the ways at a town called Faldarra, which turns out to be Lan's home. It's revealed later in the episode in a really interesting way that he was once king of a kingdom, or once the future king of a kingdom that was overtaken by the Dark One's corruption with that blight that we saw later on in the episode. So Faldarra, also known as Tarwin's Gap, is the only thing standing between the Dark One's corruption and the rest of the free people of the world. As they go into Faldarra, Moraine is really interested in meeting up with Min, and she seems to be what's known as a seer. She uses the one power in order to to make prophecies, and to kind of predict what's going to happen. And so she's an incredibly valuable Aei Sedai. I don't know if she's yet made it to the White Tower in this rendition of the stories, but she's strong-willed just like all of these women are, and have decided to use her powers right there on the borderlands. She's basically in the fight, if you kind of think about it, right there up against the Blight. She says that Perrin, he's got yellow eyes. I see Rand with a mysterious child. And the girls are surrounded by white flames and different things. And then she makes a prediction about Moiraine, which is one of the most interesting things in this episode, considering the last episode that we have. She says that she sees the Amyrlin in full regalia, and that the Amyrlin will be Moiraine's downfall. Now, this is a relationship that we just saw in full bloom in the last, our last review and then the last episode. And they're colluding to the same purpose. So how, with the understanding that they have, could this particular woman, be Moiraine's downfall? I noticed that when Siawan Sanche, the Amyrlin, exiled Moiraine from the city, there was a little bit of what appeared to be real emotion in her speech and in her. And so it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. I have some ideas from having read the books and understanding what happens to the Amyrlin, but in terms of the story, it's going to be really fascinating to see. So now the question is, we're going to go to the Eye of the World. It's time to confront the Dark One in his own prison. And, all who go there that are not the Dragon Reborn, we're facing certain death. And so the kids have to make a decision, or a perceived decision. Do we go and sacrifice ourselves for the good of the world, or are we just not ready for that at this point? It's kind of hinted at that they really don't have a choice. Once an Aei Sedai sets a course for you, basically they're following the pattern of the wheel, this wheel of time that weaves as it will. And so they're just giving in, the Aei Sedai, to the will of the wheel of time. So sweet and tender, the scene with Lan's family, his chosen family in Nynaeve, and just how happy they were for him. It's clear in Faldarra that everyone loves Lan, they understand his legacy, and they're not thrilled, they're not openly hostile, but they're not thrilled about Moiraine and her hold over Lan, because he means a lot to the people of the Blighted Lands and those of Faldarra. He represents a hope in the same way that the dragon does in a lot of ways. So it was really sweet to see Nynaeve taken into his family and welcomed in and fed. And, quickly they sleep together right after that. Obviously for the sake of the show, but it was kind of on the nose that they, got together right after that. It was really touching to see Rand and Egwene. Now, we're headed off to the Eye of the World. We know that a lot of people won't make it, back from the Eye of the World. So everyone is making amends. Things that had been unsaid before are being said. And Rand and Egwene, in their love, they make a pact to go to the White Tower together. Rand to be Egwene's warder, and Egwene to be an Aes Sedai. And it felt really good to see that relationship and that love come full circle. The dragon is revealed, kids. Rand is reflecting on different situations that happened so quickly that he didn't have time to really process what was happening. But he channeled in the ways. He's reflecting back on the prophecies and the things that his dad was saying. I found this child, and Carrie, and talking about that maiden of the spear. So apparently, in the beginning episode, Carrie, the red-headed maiden of the spear, was Rand's mother. And, the dragon was almost lost there on the side of Dragon Mount, and that's why she was so heavily hunted. And when Rand's father saw her face, and he due to the will of the wheel, he took sympathy on her, and took her child in and raised the child, away from the eyes of, the world and Trollocs and the larger war, and went to Manetheren, or the Two Rivers, in order to raise this child. He felt a duty and an honor, to do so. But, kids, the dragon has been revealed. And when Rand talks to Min, his worst fears are confirmed. And she talks about him being an impossible child. At the end of the episode, guys, so everyone meets up after this long night in Faldarra. This was one of the longest nights of the series so far, where so many things happened and so many things came to a head. Love triangles were resolved, and we had to move quickly in order to kind of resolve our feelings before it might be the end. When Rand reveals himself to Moiraine, I thought that was interesting, and an interesting commentary about who the dragon is and his responsibility and power. Instead of meeting up with his friends and possibly endangering them, he decides, I'm going to go directly to Moiraine, declare myself, because I know I'm the dragon, and see what course she has for us from there. Moiraine quickly shields the bond between herself and Lan, so that he cannot feel her, and Moiraine and Rand take off together, just the two of them, without even her warder, to go to the Eye of the World to face the Dark Ones alone. So I am super excited to see what happens in the next episode. I am thrilled to see, the Blighted Lands and how we make it through, and to ultimately see what they do, as I've mentioned in other reviews, with the Eye of the World. It's going to be a really beautiful, scene, and whatever they do. So I'm super excited. What was unexpected for you in this episode? What was thrilling? Share your thoughts in your comments below. I am, kids, the dragon has finally been revealed. And I'm glad we can kind of talk openly about who the dragon is. It may have been obvious, from the way that they set up the show, but I'm glad that we can openly talk about it now without any spoilers. So Rand al'Thor from the Two Rivers, technically from the Two Rivers, is the dragon reborn. And he is fated to face the Dark One, and fated to lose his mind in madness. Oh, before we go, Moiraine sends a message back to the tower to find Mat Cauthon, but instead of sending the message to her own sisters, to the Blue Aja, she sends the messages to the Reds. And we know from past episodes that the Reds are only out to destroy men, out to destroy, those that have become mad with power. So that's truly fascinating. So we'll see, next week where it goes. As always, guys, I really enjoyed recording this. Give this video a like, a comment, and please consider subscribing for more Wheel of Time and movie-related content. I'll see you soon.